starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing.
Good morning and welcome to Story Time. Thank you so much for joining me. Happy Tuesday, wherever you're joining us from today. And yes, another lovely day, another beautiful story, another inspiring story here for us today. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. And please let us know where you're joining in from and who is joining in with you. Yes, invite your friends, invite your neighbors. Let us enjoy good stories together. Let us read together. Let us learn from each other. Thank you so much for being here and welcome to Story Time. Thank you for joining us. Always appreciate it. Always a pleasure to be here with you, and indeed a great way to start the morning together. And of course, for some of you to be going to bed, thank you so much for joining in Story Time. Glad you're here wherever you're joining us from. We know that people are joining us from Taiwan, and it's pretty late out there, Turkey, and we wish you a lovely night. Yes, indeed, after a wonderful story, of course. And if your day is just starting, I hope that today you are inspired by our book to drive on into this day. Thank you for being here. Out here in Oakland, it is going to be a high of about 72, 74 thereabouts. And right now it is a little bit cloudy and a little bit cool at around 52 degrees. So enjoying it out here in Oakland. I hope that it is good where you are as well. Thank you so much for joining in. And yes, just bits of sun beginning to shine through right here where I am. So I hope that where you are, it is indeed nice and bright as well. Or indeed, it is to your liking. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. Glad we're here together. And we do have a wonderful book that we'll be reading together. And this one is coming back almost a year to the day since it was last year on Story Time. Yes, this one is called NIA and the New Free Library. And this one is coming to you from Ian Lendler and illustrations by Mark PETT. And this one is coming to you from Chronicle Books of San Francisco as well. A big thank you to them as always for allowing us to have such amazing books here on Storytime. NIA and the New Free Library coming right up. So please do stay with us here and enjoy that wonderful story. Get comfortable, get cozy, because yes, story time is about to begin, and I am excited to share this wonderful book with you. And of course, this week we're looking at things to do. We started off yesterday with a book, this one, Things to Do, and I was just thinking of different things that we do, and today we are looking at how do we play a part in our communities, right? How do we turn up, whether it's for justice or other issues that arise in your community? How do you turn up, whether it's coming together, helping, like maybe with roads or something? How do we come around different causes in our communities and rally? And that's what this book today will be helping us understand and helping us go through. And so looking at that, and then tomorrow we'll look at another thing that we could do, other things to do. There are many things to do. There are friendships to mend, right? And there's so many things. There's families to gather with and enjoy a good meal. So many things that we'll be talking about this week. But today we do have encouragement, ways in which we as communities can come together and build. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Glad you're here. And today we are reading NIA and the New Free Library. And this one is coming to you from Ian Lendler and illustrations by Mark PETT. Thank you so much for being here. And then again, a big thank you to Chronicle Books of San Francisco for allowing us to share this amazing book right here on Storytime. Welcome, welcome, and good morning to you, good evening to you, good afternoon to you, on wherever you're joining us from today. Thank you for being here. Amanda West, how are you doing today? And of course, Sarah and Nathan. And it seems like you have the perfect match today, snacking while we're reading. Thank you so much for joining in. I love it. Nothing goes better with a snack and a cozy spot and a good book. Thank you so much for joining in and for sharing that. And of course, Indy dozing away. Thank you so much for joining in out in bright and blue Illinois. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Glad you're here with us. Oh, yes, the party is here. Nathan and Sarah, Indy, Amanda West, and everybody else joining in too. We say thank you for being here with us. Thank you for being in community with us this morning on Storytime. Thank you indeed. And from the Storytime coach, sending you love, 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 and more love and hugs and everything good. Thank you so much for joining us. Good morning to you, Pamela, Courtney, Braylon, Chad. How are you today? From a beautiful day in Natchitoches, Louisiana. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I am so glad you're here for our story. Thank you indeed for being here. And I hope that day continues to be even better. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Storytime. Yes, we do have a lovely book to share together, and I'm excited to read that with you today. So if you have it at home, please read along. And of course, if you enjoy it, you love it, go and ask for it at your local library. And remember that libraries are resources that are there for us, and so many things that we can use them for. The summer is coming, great places to find books, and many other resources too. I know that my library close by is also a tool lending library, so you can go there and get tools like rakes and so many other things that you can use around your home. So find out what your libraries provide and see what you can use. There's so much more, and I know I'm not doing them justice right now because libraries do a lot in our communities. Thank you so much for joining in. Get ready for our story, get comfortable, and we'll be starting with our story very shortly. For now, a short message and we'll be right back. Thank you for being here with us on Storytime.
Hi everyone, my name is Amanda Davis. I'm a children's book author, illustrator, and high school art educator. I am the author of 30,000 Stitches, the inspiring story of the National 9/11 flag, illustrated by Sally Warren Comport and published with Worthy Kids #book group. One thing that drew me to writing 30,000 Stitches was the idea that people from all different communities came out to stitch this flag and make it whole again. So I hope that when people read 30,000 Stitches, they remember the power of sharing our stories. When people came out to stitch the flag, they shared their stories, whether about loss or pain or love. We all have stories to tell, and by sharing our stories and listening to one another's stories, we can create a better understanding of each other and create a sense of connection and unity. And this is what creates a more inclusive world. I hope you enjoy your story time with Mr. LaMotta. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Amanda. Indeed. Please do check out 30,000 Stitches. It is a powerful book indeed. We've read it here on Storytime. There's a snippet, an excerpt read of it. You can find it on our platforms, but also find it where you find books. And it is up for many awards, and those awards are truly deserved, I believe. So please do check it out. I encourage you to do that. And Amanda Davis also has a baby, a new baby girl. And so congratulations to you, Amanda. Thank you for a wonderful message this morning. Yes, we want a world that is inclusive, and we can't ask for more than that today. Thank you so much. All right, here we go. Today's book, NIA and the New Free Library, coming back to Storytime after almost a year of being away. This one is by Ian Lendler and illustrated by Mark PETT. And of course, reading it with permission of the publishers, Chronicle Books of San Francisco. Are you ready? Oh, I didn't hear you. Are you ready? Oh, yes. Here we go. Oh. NIA and the New Free Library. This one is written by Ian Lendler, illustrations by Mark PETT, and being read with permission of the publishers, Chronicle Books of San Francisco. For as long as anyone could remember, the little town library stood there. It was there so long that people stopped paying attention. The building got old, the librarian retired, and nobody noticed. Until one day, a tornado came and carried the whole thing away. Oh no. That's a beautiful building too. No one quite knew what to do with the new empty space where the library used to be. We need a big skyscraper, said the builder. That will really put this town on the map. We need a parking lot, said the grocer. That would help my business. But Nia had a different idea. We need to rebuild the library. Rebuild it, said the mayor. What's the point? No one uses libraries anymore. Who needs it, said the distracted mom. My son and I get everything we want online. I am on level 10. Rebuild it, said the banker. That costs money and I can't spare a dime. But Nia loved the library. She went every week to check out books. She liked cookbooks the best. Her favorite spot to read them was under the tree in front of the library. But it's hard to check out a book from a library that isn't there. That's when Nia had an idea. What is Nia's idea, you think? She got a desk, a chair, and a pencil and some paper. Then, and a plate of orange slices for energy. Then she began to write. It took her all day. Oh, what is Nia writing? She got a desk and a chair and a pencil and some paper and a plate of orange slices for energy. Then she began to write. It took her all day. Oh, what is Nia writing? Are you as curious as I am? It took her another day too. Oh my. From sunup to sundown, it took her a lot of days. And at first, no one paid any attention. But pretty soon, she had written an entire wagon full of books. Whoa. And at first, no one paid attention. But pretty soon, she had written an entire wagon full of books. Would you like to check out a book? She asked the grocer. How? He said. The library's gone. This is the new free library, said Nia. The grocer was curious, so he picked up the book on top of the pile and began to read. There was an old lady who lived in a shoe. She lived in a shoe? P.U. Hey, said the grocer, you wrote this wrong. I did, said Nia. Well, maybe you can fix it. She handed the grocer a pencil. The grocer started to write. Oh. Excuse me, said the distracted mom. My son's phone just died. Could he look at one of your books? Of course, Nia said. This is the new free library. He can read any book he likes. This one is about Sir Wilbur, the bravest, most handsome knight around. This is terrible, said the boy. I can draw better than that. You're probably right, said Nia. Maybe you can fix it. As they made more books, more townspeople became curious and stopped to look. The town's detective saw the crowd forming and came over to see if there was any trouble. She picked up a book. This was my favorite book growing up. And this is the book. This book is the reason I fell in love with the sea, said the boat captain. Everyone's finding a book for them. But as they read, everybody noticed mistakes. Arr, said the boat captain. Where the mild things roam, that's not the title. And that's not how Sherlock solved the crime, said the detective. Every time, Nia simply said, oh, well, maybe you can fix it. And she handed them a pencil. Pretty soon, half the town was writing alongside Nia. What'd you think? I've never built a horseshoe before. How are the sketches going? I am on page 10. Everybody was working together. Oh. Everyone discovered the job was a lot harder than it looked. And that's how he solved the crime. You're wrong. That clue was a red herring. There was a fish in the story? I am confused. We can talk about red herrings another day, right? But they began to remember words and ideas that had inspired them. Like hopes springing high, still I rise. I love poems about bread. Pretty soon, there were enormous piles of freshly written books. Books of adventure and poetry, and filled with every idea ever imagined. There were so many books that they spilled into the road and stopped traffic. Whoa. Said Nia. If only there was some better way to organize them. I've got empty crates. We could use them as shelves, said the grocer. If it rains, the books will get wet, said the builder. I will make some walls and a roof to protect them. And we will need lions, said the banker. A good library has to have lions in front. I will get 2 from my bank. Does your library have lions on the outside? Oh. Pretty soon, the entire town was lending a hand. There were people writing and drawing and building and binding and sorting and stacking and slicing oranges for energy. What we need is an opening ceremony, said the mayor. Everybody came together. There were people writing and drawing and binding and building and sorting and stacking and slicing oranges for energy. So the mayor fetched her shiniest ribbon and her biggest scissors and her fanciest outfit, and she was just about to cut the ribbon so the crowd could shout, "Hooray!" when Nia said, "Wait! We forgot one thing." "We did?" said the builder. "We did?" said the banker. "We have the library," said Nia, "but we don't have a librarian." No. What are they going to do? Oh, the mayor looked around. Does anyone here want to be the librarian? Oh, there were a lot of people. Are your hands up too? Do you want to be librarians too? That should fix it, said Nia. Then the mayor cut the ribbon. The whole town shouted, "Hooray!" And Little Town's new free library was open. Yay! Everyone crowded into the library to admire what they had accomplished. I decided to go for a classic feel with watercolors. There were kids in bin bags reading picture books, kids with pencils writing new books. In a corner, there was a knitting class. In another, all the grandparents were learning to use a computer. First, we make sure it's plugged in. Everywhere there were people sitting together, enjoying the cozy quiet of a book-filled place. Oh, sounds like my kind of place. Yes, indeed. Oh, I love that. Meanwhile, Nia did what she wanted to do from the very beginning. She quietly walked straight to her favorite section and checked out her favorite book, How to Make Stone Soup by Nia. And she sat down to read in her favorite spot underneath the library's tree. At least she did. What's happening? At least she did. Well, until, oh no, the tornado came back and carried the school away. Oh, sigh. The end. Oh. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. I am glad we were here together. Yes, joining Nia on this wonderful adventure of restoring, rebuilding, indeed, the library that in her neighborhood. And I just love the resiliency. I love, her creativity and how she also help gather the entire community to go with her and indeed rebuild this wonderful piece in her neighborhood. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. I hope that you're well. Yes, looking at things to do this week. What in your neighborhood can you do? What are things that you can do to help, right? Where can we plant trees? Where can we help? Thank you so much for joining in, and I hope that this inspires you today to do even the little things in your neighborhood and make a difference. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. They don't always have to be big things. It can be tiny, tiny little things. Even just saying hello to your neighbor is a start. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. I'm glad that we were here together, but continuing to contemplate things that we can do, things that we do, things to do in our lives. And tomorrow we will be sitting around the table that Granddad built. Yes, there are no special times quite like sitting together with family around the table over a meal, laughter and talking and everything else. And yes, sometimes, there's a little bit of arguing here and there, but that is part of family, and sorting those out is also part of navigating life. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. I hope you enjoyed that lovely story, Nia and the new free library. Find it at your local libraries, and of course, support those local bookstores as well. And this one is coming to you from Ian Lendler, illustrations by Mark PETT. And of course, we read it with permission of Chronicle Books of San Francisco. A wonderful book indeed. Thank you so much for joining us on Storytime today. Let us see who was with us enjoying that lovely story. And thank you for being here. I know it was a beautiful day out in Nakitosh, Louisiana today. It is a wonderful day. Good morning to you, Braylon, Chad, and of course, Auntie Pam. Thank you so much for joining in. And you're saying, oh, hello, Sarah and Nathan. Braylon and Chad are snacking on breakfast biscuits and fruit. Story time and snacks. Yum indeed. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. Thank you so much for joining in and indeed for being a part of this community. Thank you. I really appreciate all of you. and the energy that you bring to this wonderful space. Thank you so much for being here on Storytime. Good morning to you, Miss Ingrid, out in Patagonia, Argentina. And you say, good morning, everyone. How could I build a new library? Well, Miss Ingrid, you're on your way. You already have a library with a reading club. Let's build some more. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. I love it. Love the work that you're doing, Miss Ingrid, and appreciate you so much. Betty Graydon, thank you for joining us out in Florida. Thank you for being here right now on the live. Good to catch you on the live. Thank you so much for joining in. I know you've been joining us on the 11 o'clock. Much appreciated. Thank you. Sending you hugs, you and your loved ones. And indeed, I hope that you do join us tomorrow again when we're back with this wonderful book, Around the Table That Granddad Built. Join me for this one and enjoy. It is indeed a beautiful one as well. And that one will be coming to you from Candlewick Press. Thank you so much for joining in. I love it too. I love this story too. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. I'm glad you were here. I wasn't able to listen to the entire story. Now Chad has given me the entire plot of the story. It's the problem, the solution, the character, a tornado. Absolutely. Well, we have a writer there. Chad, I love it. Thank you for catching up. Auntie Pam, thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Much appreciated. Sarah and Nathan, appreciate you for being here. Thank you indeed. I hope that you enjoy that lovely day out there in bright and blue Illinois. Thank you for being here with us on Storytime. Yes, indeed. Thank you indeed, everybody, for joining us on Storytime. This has been Storytime for today. As always, I just feel so fulfilled, so energized by all of you, and I love it. And I hope that, your day is wonderful indeed. And yes, there are things to do. There are things to be done as we're focusing on this week. We started with things to do. How can you today in your community make a difference? Yes, let's try that for today. Thank you so much for joining in. And then maybe tomorrow we can try and gather with family around the table that Granddad built. This one coming to you from Melanie Hill, and of course, familiar illustrations of Jamie Kim. Thank you so much for being here on Storytime. Absolutely appreciate each and every one of you. You make Storytime what it is. You give me the energy to be here each and every day. And please continue to send your recommendations here to Storytime, and we will be, working, trying our very best to bring you all the stories that you desire to see here on Storytime. And if you're writing stories, please send them our way. Kids, adults, everybody, please send them our way, and we will try and bring them here to Storytime so everybody can share and enjoy them. Yes, indeed, on all those cozy days, whether they're bright and blue or gray at times. Thank you so much for being here. Much love to each and every one of you. Hugs. I wish you nothing but the very best today. Positive vibes all through. And indeed, yes, sometimes, things can get a little bit hectic, but let us remember to slow down, take a step back. And I hope that you can find that space to just give yourself a little hug, reboot, recollect, and go on to face the day. Thank you so much for being here. Much love. I will see you again tomorrow, God willing, right here, 7 a.m. Pacific time, and of course, 11 a.m. for the recordings. Thank you so much for being here. Join us on our Storytime platforms at Storytime with Mr. Limada on Instagram, Facebook, and also at our website at storytimewithmrlimada.com. Thank you for being here. Much love from me. Bye-bye.
Storytime with Mr. Limada. He will be starting soon. Oh, Storytime with Mr. Limada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely. Won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing Storytime with Mr. Limada. It will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing. He brings to life your favorite stories with his great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be hearing. Read me all of your stories. Read me all of your stories. Some with people who look like me, others very different from the way that I look and think. Read me all of your stories. Read me all of your stories. Some stories from far away, others right here in my neighborhood. Read me all of your stories. Read me all of your stories. Some with people who look like me, others very different from the way that I look and think. Read me all of your stories. Read me all of your stories. Some lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be